crazy. Don't know what my arm's doing. Oh, there's something in my eye. Hello, welcome to my video. Hey everyone, so I've been doing art full-time for a whole year now and just kind of wanted to share with you my experience this year with like what's worked out and what hasn't, and kind of just how I feel about doing art full-time despite not having studied art at university. So I got you guys to ask me a bunch of questions online, so I'm going to try answer them now. And also, if you haven't seen my work before, I do a lot of ceramic pieces. I also craft with different mediums like resin and clay, and I do a lot of digital art. So yeah, so just a quick self-intro in case things I say later don't make sense to you. Okay, I'm going to jump right into it because I'm getting bored of filming intro. So the first question is, how did you start selling your art? Well, a bit of a backstory. I actually haven't done anything artistic publicly throughout high school. I was an athlete and I kind of trained 5 days a week, and that was my main thing for a good 8 to 9 years. And before that I did swimming like religiously, so I was an athlete my whole life, and so no one actually knew I liked doing anything crafty. And when I got to uni, I was like, ooh, brand new start. I make it sound so lame. So I applied to a market in 2015, and it was a market for emerging artists. And at the time, the only artsy thing I was doing was drawing in this like small ass sketchbook, and that was it. That was all I was doing. But I applied for it anyway, and I was like, I'm gonna sell artwork. And in a few weeks they replied to my application saying I was offered a table, and I was like, oh no, I need to fill up this ginormous table and I have nothing to sell. Like, I have no products. Everything was in this little sketchbook and nothing was like printed professionally. Like, I can't sell that stuff. I can't just rip it out and sell my artwork. So at the time I panicked a little bit, but I had 3 months to figure it out, and in that 3 months I did heaps of experimenting with polymer clay, with paper clay, and also I got like some of my artwork printed professionally so I could sell as A5 and A6 postcards, which looking back, well, they were like done really poorly, but at the time I was like, oh, this is amazing, like I've never done anything like this before. So I did manage to fill up that table, thank God, and I had a wonderful day and haven't stopped crafting ever since. So that's how I started. The second question is, what's the first step in doing art full time? Not sure how to start, and how do you know when it's the right time to make the jump? Well, I would like to say just do it, but you know, if your life depends on it and you really need money from this job, then realistically speaking, there are a few things that you should consider before making the jump. For example, there are just so many ways of making money with art these days. Like, I think it's good to consider where you want your source of income to be from when it comes to making art. Like, would you be doing marketing and branding work for companies? Would you be doing commissions for people? Or are you going to make online sales, run an online shop and do wholesale orders? Just so many ways, and I think it's good to narrow down to 1 to 2 so you can focus on those areas and kind of build your artistic business on those areas, just so you can have like you can be able to build a really good and stable pool of customers and clients in those areas, as opposed to doing a bit of this and a bit of that, and in the end not having those regulars come to you to give you jobs and stuff, if you know what I mean. And in my own experience, I didn't do art full-time for ages. Like, I started doing the Forest Mori first year of uni, and that was when I had a part-time job elsewhere, and that money from my part-time job funded whatever I was doing with the Forest Mori, and it went well. It was great. And I think taking that financial pressure away from doing art full-time really helps with people's creativity, because sometimes when you're so pressured to constantly produce artwork for money, it kind of takes your creativity away, because you're just creating non-stop without thinking too much about it, because you need the money and you need your life to work out. So I think there's really no shame in doing 2 things at once, and like, I feel like if you're not ready to do art full-time, then don't do art full-time. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I did art as a side thing for almost 5 years, and I think I only made the jump to do art full-time because I had enough wholesale orders and online orders, and also I didn't have enough time to do a part-time job on the side because my orders are mainly for handmade products, and when I get a wholesale orders for, say, like 100 pins, I don't have that time to do a part-time job on the side. So when you get to that point where time is not enough for you to do 2 things at once, I think that is when you can like confidently make the jump and just try it out. If it doesn't work out, then just go back to your other job, you know, like it's not the end of the world. So I think, yeah, just a few things to think about. It's not impossible. Give it a go. Third question, how did you find jobs? Did you have to present your portfolio? And how do you get freelance clients? Is it a lot of reaching out? Do people contact you? I think my social media accounts are my biggest promoters. They pretty much act as my online portfolio. I also have a website where I kind of showcase what I've done with who and with what company, but my social media account definitely is mainly how people discover me and give me freelance works or collaboration work. And in terms of whether I have to reach out to people a lot for jobs, I think because how I make money with my art is mainly via my online shop, I don't really email people for jobs and stuff like that. Not because I'm like super arrogant and I think I'm really good, but like it's just the nature of how my business works. I do shop updates every weekend, and I think people have gotten to a point where they expect my shop updates to come up and they would naturally go check out my shop on weekends to see what's new and stuff like that. So that's how my business works. If I were to do a lot of freelance work and I wanted to do more commission work for people, I would definitely email people. I would email companies I like. I would contact artists I like and ask if they wanted to do a little collaboration with me. Yeah, so reaching out to people is definitely like a really good way of getting jobs, because you never know. Sometimes it really takes only that one message from you to get the other party from thinking, oh yeah, I'll work with you, you know. Like, don't be afraid to reach out to people. Sometimes just a DM on Instagram is all you need for your next big job. Next question is, do you get a lot of people questioning your choice, and how does your family feel about your job? Well, in the beginning, when I started the Forest Mori, I wasn't very confident with what I did, and I was scared to be judged by people. I didn't know what people were going to say about me wanting to do art, because like all my friends and everyone in my family knew me as the athlete, you know what I mean? So this is completely something new, and of course people are going to have doubts about it, so I didn't want to go through that whole questioning stage. So I kind of hid the Forest Mori from everyone I knew for a good 1 to 2 years. And I think by the time I told my friends and family about it was when I was already making online sales, and I was already getting quite a bit of support on social media. But even then, whenever my friends asked me about the Forest Mori, because I wasn't very confident in what I was doing and I had no idea what I was doing half the time, every time my friends would ask me like these harmless questions just out of curiosity, like for example, they'd be like, oh, so how do you make money from your art? Like what are you doing? I would start projecting all these like negative thoughts onto these questions and be like, oh, they're just asking this because they're looking down on me and they think just because I don't work from 9 to 5, it's not a legitimate career. Like, I would think very badly of like the questions people ask me about my business. And this comes from my own insecurities, to be fair. So I think generally my friends and family have been very supportive of what I do. Any doubts and any problems I've had with how people thought about my business and doing art full-time came from me, came from my own insecurities. So yeah, I've been very lucky. I know not to look down on my work anymore. That was very stupid of me. Next question, how do you stay motivated to create new things? I suffer from burnout and art blocks. Well, I'm the type of person who gets bored of old things very easily. So naturally, because of that, I have to keep making new things in order for me to like my own work. So I think that really helps me want to and have the motivation to create new things. But also I think it's really important to actually just stop working when you have art blocks. A lot of people are like, oh, you should still keep creating and eventually things will click and you'll have ideas again. For me, that doesn't work. I have to be completely taken away from my usual environment and surroundings in order to overcome art blocks. I had a good 3 to 4 months of art block this year, and what I did was I took a ceramic course, and it was a completely new medium for me, and it's something I've never done before and have always wanted to do, and that really helped me. Like, ceramics is something I do on almost a daily basis now. I love it, and I am kind of glad that my art block took me onto that path, and now it's a main part of what I do. And I think it's really important to do something new when you're suffering from art blocks, because I don't know, I've tried the whole like, oh, just keep doing what you're doing and eventually it'll click. I've tried that method, but it just made me not like my artwork, and in the end I just ended up having like piles and piles of work that I disliked. So yeah. Next question, what platform did you start with? Etsy, but I moved to Squarespace after. Next question is, if you were just starting out, would you recommend starting on Etsy or creating your own website? I started with Etsy because I've heard a lot about it, and a lot of handmade artists seem to sell on there, so that was why I went with it. But last year, 2018 July, Etsy started this shipping fee thing where they would take 5% from your sales and also 5% of the money from shipping as well, which doesn't make sense because sellers are the ones who pay for the shipping. Etsy has nothing to do with the shipping. And the reason why they're doing this is that they are pushing for sellers to provide free shipping for customers. And if a seller could provide free shipping for orders over $35, I think Etsy made it so they would be ranked first on search engines and stuff like that. And in order to provide free shipping, you're basically just putting that shipping cost onto the product cost. So everything would be priced a bit more expensive than it used to be, but then shipping would be free, which to me makes no sense because shipping cost is different to every single country. There's no way that shipping will cost the same if I were to ship from Australia to the US or from Australia to the UK. It costs different. So I will be overcharging some people and undercharging some people. And because of that, I switched from Etsy to Squarespace. Like, I was totally done with that whole stupid free shipping concept, and I thought it was just Etsy's way of charging people more service fees, and I didn't like their platform anyway. I thought the orange was a bit tacky. Anyway, so I would say don't start with Etsy just because I don't think they're very good for emerging artists. And also it's hard to differentiate your shop from other sellers because there are so many sellers on there. It's hard to stand out, so to speak. With creating your own website, you can do more customization, you can have your layout the way you want it, and say for example with my website, like on my logo I had a little GIF so my logo moves and stuff like that, and I could choose templates I like, and it's just been a really wonderful process like of just switching to my own website. But it is a bit more expensive. If you can't like afford to create your own website, I think places like Big Cartel is also a really good option just because they have a pretty nice looking interface and their seller plans are pretty affordable. So yes, I wouldn't 100% recommend Etsy, but I would say that it is a safe place to sell in because I've had no problems with like say money transfer or anything like that. But apart from that, I have not been loving that platform. Sorry. Next question, is it stressful not knowing if something is going to sell? Yes, I always stress out when I make something new and I don't know if people are going to like it. But always remember, this is what I always tell myself, people like to wait until they have a few things they like and they like to order in bulk so they save on shipping. There's always going to be someone in the world who appreciates what you think people don't like. So don't be too harsh on yourself. Whatever doesn't sell in your shop is going to sell eventually. So just be patient. Things aren't supposed to sell just like that. Like, it happens. You're not alone. Last question. If you had one advice for people to be an independent artist, what would it be? I think my one and main advice for people would be that even if you had to do something else to support your artistic business and you're not able to do it full time, don't let this make you feel like your artwork is less valuable compared to people who can do art full time. Don't let the fact that you have to do a part-time job to support your art make you feel that you are less valuable as an artist, because it's about what you make in the end, but not how your lifestyle is as an artist, you know what I mean? So don't feel bad or be really harsh on yourself if you're not able to do it full time, because you're just as valuable as an artist compared to people who can do it full time. And I mean it. So yeah. I hope this video has helped you in getting a little bit of perspective on doing art full time. Again, this is only my story. A lot of people are doing art full time and have completely different experience from I do, so make sure you get advice from other people as well. I'm sure there are many videos on YouTube about this, but thanks for watching my video anyway, and I'll chat with you again soon. Bonus question， 途中有冇遇到乜嘢困難想放棄？係乜嘢令你堅持落去？想聽你講廣東話，梗係有想放棄啦，冇錢咪想放棄咯。